Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, you're listening to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles on MS&Me Radio, which is brought to you by the Global... Okay, I did it again. I put global first like every time. The MS Global Support Network. And, that's the brainchild of Erica Lyons Richardson, and I want to be sure every time to thank her, so I'm going to do it first. Last week, I was trying, I should say, to talk to you in my second half of the Depression Circle, talk to you about getting a little bit more picky, I guess you could say, about the people you are around, and how negative people, and by that I mean they make you feel bad. If you're around people that make you feel bad, then they're poisonous. And so I was trying to give examples. Now, my critics said that my point didn't really come across very well, and that it came across more whiny than anything. And that's not the way I meant it. It may be the way it sounded. I don't really know. I know that I sound a lot whinier when I'm in pain, so I may sound whiny today too, because I've been having some pain issues here lately from the surgery that I had. It was very cool that they can do this, but they made a 3D image of a brain tumor, a meningioma. It was not cancerous, it's benign. But they were able to make a 3D image of it, and using that 3D image and all the latest advances in surgery, they were able to remove this tumor safely and without too much trouble. But I have a lot of swelling, a lot of fluid, because there was a lot of empty space, and that was just there after they took the tumor out, because there had been, this tumor was pretty large. It was this big around as your eyeball. And so that left this void, and there's all this fluid, and you need new vessels, blood vessels and stuff to form, and so there's been a lot of swelling, and it's not really comfortable. Makes my head feel kind of top heavy, and to the right. So it's kind of an odd thing, and it's been very disturbing to me that I haven't been able to get out and about as much, because part of the swelling is in my eye. My right eye was swollen shut this morning. It's in my forehead, and it was a complete lopsided head, but that's going down some, and more is coming out in my eye as it comes down my face. And who knows, after it comes down enough into my eye, then it ends up in my cheeks. So tomorrow I may look like a half a chipmunk. There's no telling. Today I look like I have a black eye and been bashed in the head and beaten, which is not the case at all. Oh, and it's 3:30. My phone tells me what time it is, so I can kind of keep track of my day. But today, other than clarifying that last week my message, if it wasn't clear, was to figure out who those poisonous people are, and if someone is just putting you down constantly and saying all kinds of ugly things, which means mean things, only a little bit more extreme. I was told my language from where I live may not be something that everybody's heard of, but when I talk about someone being ugly, I'm talking about mean. And so if they're making you feel bad constantly, think about it. Are you getting anything in return? Because a relationship is between two people, and you should be getting something in return for your loving them. And if all they're doing is putting you down and making you feel bad, then maybe that's a relationship you want to think about getting rid of, because you don't need that extra stress. And I know this, and stress is one of those things that just makes MS go crazy. So that's what I was trying to talk about, was, finding these poisonous people that you've left in your life, and because you're hanging on, you want those old friendships, you want it to work, you want them to understand so bad, but they'd rather make fun of you or just plain be mean and talk about you and be hateful. And they're not worth it. They're not worth it at all. I wish I had realized how much better I would feel by saying adios than I was by hanging on, and that was like a huge turning point for me. A huge turning point for me. And so that's what I was trying to stress. Now today, I wanted to talk a little bit about motivational tools, because it's hard to get up and do anything when you're depressed, and it really is. It's hard to get started. And so the first thing that I would say is to make a list. Now make this list the night before, because if you wait until morning, it's not going to get started until, you've been awake for 4 hours laying there doing nothing. So make a list the night before, and put down the things that you would like to do, that you would like to accomplish the next day, and put them down piece by piece by piece by piece. Don't put down wash clothes, because you need to do more than just wash clothes. Maybe you have to gather them, maybe you have to separate them, and then you have to put them in the washing machine and turn it on and put the soap powders in. There's all these little steps, and then when the cycle's done, then you have to get them out and put them in the dryer. And then when that's done, you have to get them out of there and do something with them. Either fold them up, hang them up. Most people don't just leave them in a bag like my son does. I mean, he's young, and he was in the service for a little while, and I guess he just got used to throwing his stuff in a bag, and at some point, and moving around and stuff. So, anyways, he still does that now. So it kind of tickled me when I thought of it. And tickled, that just means funny. But yeah, making this list and making it little piece by little piece by little piece and little piece, then you're not overwhelmed by the thought of doing laundry or the thought of cleaning the kitchen. I mean, oh my gosh, cleaning the kitchen. You've got dishes to put in a dishwasher or to put in the sink and I would use putting in the sink and washing them as two different things, and then you gotta stack them or dry them or however you do that. And you have to wipe off counters and tabletops and and this kind of putting them down piece by piece by piece, it helps you feel like you're getting something accomplished, because then you've got all these lines marked through. I've done that one, done that one, done that one. So I have on mine, today, take my AM meds, which is at the top of my list every day. And then I've got feed fishies, because my fish are hungry. Feed Hachi, because my dog's going to be hungry. Make me some coffee, because I'm going to want that cup of coffee. And then I've got other things after that, and I've gone all out of order after that. But those things, they stay in order, and I do them and check them off in pretty much the exact same order, which I make a line through them, but I can still read through the line I make. But that's a big help, So I've got on here, take a shower, get dressed, clean my 40-gallon fish tank's filter thingy out, and wash blue jeans and dry blue jeans, and all these other things that are on my list. And but I don't have to necessarily go in order, and I don't expect to get everything on the list done. If I did, that would be a miracle for me. And I keep it very simple. And on this list, I also have pedaling and heel toes and butt kicks, all of these exercises that I need to do. And I've been really slacking on my exercises. And my bridges, I can tell that I haven't been doing my bridges. And these are things that are hard for me to get started doing again right now, because my head is kind of lopsided and top heavy. So that's not been my friend. But exercising is another great way to help fight depression, whether it's exercises that you've been given by a therapist, a physical therapist, or whether they're exercises that you did when you were growing up, or whether you're watching a video and making sure that you're very careful about your form and how you do the moves, and you're not doing more than you should, because you can, we break easier than we fix, and that's true. I mean, we do. We break easier, and our connections are more fragile, so we don't want to overdo something and push ourselves backwards. So exercise, though, and if you're up to walking, that is a great exercise. Just be careful about how you walk, because you don't want your gait to be way off when you walk, or if it is, it's going to make you hurt. It can damage your hips. It can just do damage walking incorrectly, and we have a tendency to do that. So that's why I recommend so highly getting floor pedals. I call them free pedaling, because there's no tension at all. the pedals just spin. You know, my grandchild could spin them around and around with his hand when he was, you know, a baby, a itty bitty baby. Now he can pedal them. He's 3 years old. Or is he 4? No, 3. No, 4. He just had a birthday. Oh my gosh, he just turned 4. And but he can pedal them now. He's tall enough that he can sit in a chair and pedal the pedals, and just barely, from what I've heard. I've never seen him do it because he does it at my mom's, but I'm told he can turn the pedals around. So they're free pedals to me because they spin freely, but they're actually floor pedals, and you get to sit in your own chair and just find a chair that's the right height so that your knees will go straight up and straight down, because that's what it's all about, rather than it being about the stretch to get the legs straight, because we're not worried about that with the pedaling. The pedaling is simply to get your gait right and get your thighs to go up and down like they're supposed to, and keeping your body square as you do that. So that's why I so suggest those, because they are so awesome for any kind of wonkiness in your gait. Let me see. I've got a list here of the things, because I will forget what it is that is next on my list, and on my to-do list, so to speak, or what I would like to do, is journaling. I like to spend some time every day just plain journaling, and it gives me a place to put my emotions. And you don't need to go back and read your old emotions. Once you've got them on the paper, it's done. It's over with. It's in the past. And I definitely suggest a journal, but I suggest you start each day on a fresh sheet of paper and have that page from yesterday turned at the end of the day, so that you're not looking at it when you go to write. If you're looking backwards, then you're not living in today. And we want to live in today. Today is the day that matters. So today is the day we want to live in. And so I suggest that journaling as a place to put those emotions, and then just tuck them away. And, you know, they're done. They're over with and in the past. I suggest you find music that you like, that's happy and uplifting, that makes you feel good. I suggest that you practice smiling. And I do mean practice. And this is a good exercise for people with MS, because, you know, we have problems with swallowing and things like that at times. And so you can practice using those muscles in your face and in your jaws and in your neck as you practice smiling and making faces at yourself in a mirror. And one of the best things for your swallow muscles is simply to pull your chin back in. You know, you stand up straight, or you sit up straight, and you have your shoulders kind of down, and you pull your chin in towards you, and then you try and smile, and it makes some funny faces. And those funny faces help you to laugh. And so anytime you laugh, that is great, great, great motivation. And maybe try and plan some fun time. You know, just something fun. And, you know, I've been having a hard time with that lately because I haven't been able to drive. I mean, my eyes swollen up and I'm not seeing well because it's, swollen up. So, when you take an imperfect vision and make it even more imperfect, well, that's not me on the road. I told my docs, a long time ago that I'm not an idiot, and I'm not gonna be one. I would love, love, love to go out. But you know what? I'm not an idiot, so I'm not going to drive if I can't see well, and I live out in the middle of nowhere, so there is no such thing as public transportation. The best you could do is hitchhike on a tractor to nowhere. So, I might as well stay home and be comfortable, right? Um, so, that isolation is another thing that we want to try and avoid. Sometimes it's inevitable. And so, yeah, you get kind of down about it. And being kind of down about it, it can slip backwards for me back into a depression. But I allow myself to feel down about it for a day, and then it's time to move on, and have a better time. And, I'm not getting to go out today, maybe, but I will tomorrow. I know I will tomorrow because I've got plans to go to my mom's tomorrow, and the ride is already there. So, yeah, I'm gonna get to go. So I have that to look forward to. When people tell me maybe or we'll see, or there's so many other words that can be used that are kind of hemming and hawing about whether or not you're going to have a ride or they're going to take you to do something, then I don't get my hopes up. But when I know for sure, then I know for sure. So I get my thrill on, I guess you could say, because I am really excited about getting to go. Hopefully I won't have to duck out too much because it's going to probably be noisy and have a lot going on. But, if I do, I do, and people will understand. I will be there with my family, so they will get it. And my dad has even set me up a place outside if I need to get away from everybody, and so I'll be good. Oh, and I got the hiccups. That's weird. But anyways, aside from my hiccuping, it's there's so many different types of motivational tools out there, and I had somebody tell me to try deep breathing, in through the nose and out through the mouth, I think is how it goes. But I can't do that stuff. If I start thinking about my breathing, I swear I cannot breathe at all. It's like I get so hyperventilated just trying to think about my breathing. So I stay away from that one. I don't know what it is. It's weird. But yeah, I kind of get hyperventilated by the whole ordeal. So, and then, then you can't do anything at all, and you're even more anxious or whatever. And so, I don't do that. But I have tried counting, and counting works. And they say count 5 numbers, and I've heard this both ways, as being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or in being in numbers out of order, like 16, 4, 23, 7, and 5 numbers that are out of order, so that it takes your mind to only thinking about being out of order and nothing else. And to count slowly, of course, because the slower you're counting, the more effectively your mind is only on your counting. I also suggest finding a purpose. We talked about that. My baby turtle was my purpose in the beginning. And I now have a dog, which I had him too then, but it wasn't enough. But I also have 3 fish tanks and all that goes with that, and I raise guppies. So I really like watching my guppies swim. They're very peaceful, they're funny because they're playful, so and that brings me to my next point. Find a reason to smile. Find a reason to smile each and every day. And I post on Twitter a lot of times, not every day, but I try to post, a couple every week anyways, reasons to smile. And that's the hashtag I put, is reasons to smile. And it can be something very little or something, huge that has made me smile in that day, or that morning, or whatever time of day it is, I guess. But when I get started, and I just try to find something happy, something to smile about, because happiness is really a choice. And oh my gosh, the concept of it being my choice to be happy, and nothing else that anybody else can do. It's like a superpower. It really is, because it's my choice. You don't get to decide. He doesn't get to decide. She doesn't get to decide. Nobody gets to decide whether I am happy. So have yourself a happy place that you can go to in your head, a happy place physically that you can go to get away and escape, and stay in your happy place. It sounds kind of crazy, but when you think about it, that's what this visualizing techniques is about, visualizing a calm, peaceful, happy place. And I don't do really well with super calm, so if I was at the beach, it wouldn't be a calm water beach. It would be, in Hawaii or something, and that's what I would do. So, but definitely choose to love yourself, all of you. Every bit of you, and make that choice to be happy. And I hope what I have listed as some things that motivate me will help to motivate you. And because we're all very individual, and but these are things that I do. So I hope that helps. And until next time, because my time is now up, I want to say thank you to my listeners, all of you, each and every one. I love you. Love yourself. Love yourself, guys. And thank you so much for listening. And thank you to all my friends out there who listen, and my family who listens, and just, I hope I got my message across today. Bye now.